You're going to say, like, don't be scared of the Patriots. They beat up on bad teams. We're a bad team. 3 weeks ago when we talked about the stretch of games coming up, we talked about this being, potentially the highlight of the season. You know what I mean? Because we're like, the Patriots are not that good. The Dolphins are not that good. And the Dolphins are definitely true. But the Patriots, they're coming on. They had a pretty impressive victory versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, they played the Titans.
Whoa, oh, okay.
That was the Mike Vrabel revenge game.
Okay, whatever. Whoops. Anyways, the Patriots played a great game this past week, though. Yeah. I know they won by a lot.
They dominated. But keep in mind, they've had some few weak opponents. They started the streak with beating the Bills, so that's why everybody's like hot on the streak. But the next two games were the Saints and the Titans.
Yeah.
But keep that in mind.
But the Browns, that's what the Browns are, though, to be fair, right?
It's not that it applies to the Browns. I'm talking about the league, not the Browns.
Yeah. But, like, hey, the Patriots, you're going to say, like, don't be scared of the Patriots. They beat up on bad teams. We're a bad team.
And also, like, don't forget the Bills, like, they've struggled, like, they turned around and lost by 10 to the Falcons. A team that just lost to the super beat-up Niners and barely scored.
Yeah, that will be...
but that's a whole other thing. But my point is,
but...
I think the Patriots are ascending, but I don't also think that they're dominant.
But I feel like...
That's a different discussion. But
I mean, I love Mike Vrabel as a coach. We both like Mike Vrabel, I think
he's
as
a
a
really
coach.
Leader, yeah.
Neither of us, and most of the league, didn't really understand how he got fired from the Titans and why they did that. And look what the Titans are. They would be doing so much better with him. But whatever. Anyways, just something I never understood. Mike Vrabel,
I'm happy for Vrabel because they were never drafting a good quarterback, so I'm glad he gets a chance to do something.
I think he got exactly what he was hoping for, and he's such a smart guy. I think just staying out that extra year and getting the perfect situation with the Patriots, an organization that he knows, he's familiar with, getting a quarterback. Drake May looks pretty good. You are concerned, I think, about him versus this Browns defense, which I hate to say this, but the Browns defense is somewhat overrated. They're statistically pretty good. I do think they're a good defense. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure
they're not as dominant.
I'm not so sure that they're a top 5 defense. I think they're probably more like somewhere between 8 and 11, which is still good. I think they're a good defense. I just think they're a little overrated. I wonder about what the Patriots are going to do.
They had one dominant performance this year.
Yeah,
the Packers were dominant, but the most rest of the year they were good, but not great.
Yeah.
And the run defense needs improvement. It's not terrible. It's just not that good either.
They did well the first couple weeks, but that's not unusual for the NFL, for teams to do really well in the first couple weeks and then do terrible at first and then start picking it up after the first 3 or 4 games. That's not so uncommon, especially with one less preseason game, and especially with a lot of teams. It's kind of been a bit of a trend to take the preseason less seriously. So I wonder if that has contributed to that. But the first couple games of the season are not who you really are. That's not uncommon for the first couple games to be fluky.
Yeah, some offensive linemen aren't in gear yet. They're not used to playing together.
Yeah, and
so you get some easy slips. You get through on stunts and twists that you wouldn't normally get through with.
I just wonder about that Browns run defense and the games where you thought they were going to, be a dominant force. They weren't, and that's a little concerning. So
and running backs that you thought that they would shut down, like the Steelers game was really concerning to me because that feels like a run game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like pretty good, but it's not
to
great.
Do well.
It's not a great run game, and the clear and obvious game plan would be to make them throw a lot.
But they ran
over.
They
still couldn't stop them. Yeah, that was concerning.
Yeah, literally,
they
really lowered their heads and ran over our defenders on multiple occasions.
And you just put a top 5 pick in that interior.
Yeah. So look, I'm concerned. Look. Coming into this game against the Dolphins, right? You predicted a win. I predicted a loss, so I look like the idiot in this case, which is good.
I think my prediction 24-17.
24-17.
So,
but we also didn't know about
the score was quite a bit off.
But you didn't know about the rain either. But either way, you were correct in that the Browns were better than the Dolphins, and the Browns were going to pull off that win. So I'm really happy to have been wrong about that one. Coming into this game, I hate to be negative Nancy, but I don't see a win. I don't see a win. I think the Browns are going to lose this game. What are you feeling?
I actually think that this is maybe the toughest game for the Browns, period. And the reason why is better teams can definitely be tougher to beat on some level where, like, if they're up to it, then you got no chance. Mm-hmm. And there are better teams in this league. But at the same time, you have a better chance, in my opinion, of beating a really good team than a good team in their first year being good. Because teams that are really good occasionally will just get trapped. Like, they don't pay enough attention, and they get taken off guard, and they just completely overlook you, and you get a chance. Thing about Vrabel and the Patriots, Vrabel, first of all, is a very good head coach who's not a head coach because he's a brilliant play caller. He's a head coach because he gets your mindset right. Number 2 is this is their first good year. They had an awful year last year. They're not going to come in there and take games for granted. And Vrabel's smart enough and been around the league enough. He knows, I think, that his team is playing well, but not necessarily so confident that they're guaranteed a 13-win season or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he knows that, like, they've also played some teams. So he knows you got to take advantage when you're playing the Browns. That you cannot let up, and that you have to take it seriously and, like, play very hard because you can't afford to lose those games. When you're a team like the Patriots, kind of remind me of the Broncos last year. They were a pretty good team. They weren't dominant. They generally weren't being like really good teams, but they made sure to take care of business whenever they were playing teams that they could beat. And they knew it. So I think it's almost more dangerous because the mindset will be right from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Your opportunity comes from Ramondre Stevenson, the running back. He hasn't played that well this year, and he's really had a fumble issue. And so this is going to be a game of you have to play it well from your perspective. Like the defense has got to show up and play pretty well. They don't have a great running game, so there's that. Understand that they're generally not like a quick strike offense. Occasionally they are. I mean, Drake May's been really good on the deep ball when he's throwing deep, really good. But like typically they're not just like constantly like, just throwing it deep all the time and just racking it up really quickly. But same time, Ramondre might give you opportunities and they will rack up points over time. So this is basically a game where if you want to win it, defense has got to be playing one of their better games. And most importantly, this has to be an opportunity game. When you get an opportunity, you take advantage of them. Every time. Meaning when you get a turnover,
the Browns had drives that just instead of touchdowns, they got field goals.
Right, when you get a turnover at the 40-yard line, you need a touchdown.
Yeah.
You get a field goal, you're done.
Yeah, the Browns have had way too many plays where they'd get a turnover or get in some way get field position around the 50 or the 40, and they'd still somehow they're just squeeze in a field goal or not even get a field goal and have to punt.
You can't be doing that.
You can't be doing that against the
Patriots. You need to be getting first downs all the time.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, your defense can't be getting on the field with a bunch of 3 and outs.
Yeah.
So like even when you're up, hypothetically if you're up, that kind of thing, or whatever it is, maybe you're not having the best drives in the world, but you got to be getting 2 first downs. You got to be stretching out a little bit, keeping your defense off the field for a little bit. You got to be consistent on offense in terms of keeping them on schedule, and then you have to capitalize when it matters.
Yeah.
But even so, I would say a loss. My prediction looking along the lines of 24-10.
Me, the Patriots. Okay, that is more dominant than I would have said. I had the Patriots scoring 27 points, so we're pretty close to what we think the Patriots will pull off. I'm giving the Browns a little bit more credit. I think the Patriots are going to win this game 27-20. But before we go there, just real quick right here, just on a couple specific players. Quinton Jenkins, over or under 100 yards?
Under.
Same.
They're going to game plan for it. They're going to game plan for it.
I think we're looking at
and they're good enough defense that they can game plan for it.
I think we're looking at like a 70 to 90 yard game for him.
I think it's going to be 60-70. I don't. It's not a problem with Judkins. I just think they're going to stick a lot of 8-man boxes.
Likely 75, yeah.
And not only are they maybe not afraid of Dylan, but also not afraid of Kevin. Like I don't think they're worried that Kevin's going to trust Dylan enough to chuck it deep.
If we
this receiving core, I mean, you kidding me? Between all that,
yeah, I think they're not afraid that if we overcorrect on one area, that Kevin Stefanski is going to dial up a play action bomb right on us.
And even if they do, Judy probably will drop half of them.
I was going to say they're going to drop it anyway. Exactly. How about Dylan Gabriel, over under 200 yards?
Under.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like $165, unless there's garbage. Okay, look, you could, if they get dominated, if it's like 27-0 or 27-3, and it's like fourth quarter, you might see some big garbage time yardage. But unless it goes something like that, which I don't think will happen,
yeah,
I suspect it'll be like $170, $180. You'll get like 60, 65 yards out of Judkins, and that's mostly me. It's gonna be a lot of like plodding along.
That was my prediction. My prediction was 160 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. I think this is the game.
I think they're too smart and too motivated for you to get a lot of opportunities.
I mean, they're a really well coached team. Like they're not going to be easy. We were hoping it would be, but they're not going to be.
And also, I mean, I will say, but Drake May's deep accuracy this year has been awesome. Like he has been dropping dimes.
Yeah, he's been a nice pickup. Wish we had him.
That'd be nice.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you for listening.